So, told you 3 big problems that it is working with contractors. One of them is that they are actually, when you're partner with a contractor, it's actually not cheaper. So you think, hey, I'm going to partner with a contractor. This is going to keep my rehab costs very low. No, it hasn't. It has not kept any rehab costs as low as you think it would have. Typically, when you're partnering with a contractor, you're doing it because you might have a marginal deal, right? That's when we've done it. We've done it when we've had a marginal deal. So we say, hey, if we partner with the contractor, we can keep that labor cost lower because now they're not charging us for the labor, and we'll split the profits on the back end, which could be bigger, could not be. I don't know, but that's a risk that we're all taking. So those are the times that we kind of chosen to partner with contractors. But what has ended up happening is that we actually end up paying more for the repairs and for all that than we would have if we would have just hired the contractors. So why does this happen? One is the majority of contractors do not know how to bid a job correctly. And I know. You're saying, how? That's their job. This is what they do. How the hell can they not bid a job correctly? They just can't. The majority of contractors do not know how to bid a job. Now, this may mean they don't know how to estimate how much the materials are actually going to cost, but the majority of the time, it means that they don't know how to estimate the amount of time it's actually going to take to do the job. A lot of times they are underestimating the amount of time it's going to take them to accomplish the job that you're hiring them to do. So what ends up happening is it's taking them a lot more time, a lot more man hours, a lot more, maybe materials on their end that they got to supply. And little by little, they start realizing they're losing money. And when they start realizing that they're losing, this is where it becomes a big problem when you're even partnering with a contractor. So another issue is that a lot of these contractors, they've either been working with homeowners, so they're not used to bidding a project for an investor. What is the difference between working for a homeowner and working for an investor? A homeowner is a one and done type of business, right? So usually the markups are higher because there's no repeat business there. Now, when you work with an investor, there is repeat business. So you tend to give them a little bit better of a price because they're going to keep more business coming your way. So that's the biggest difference. A lot of contractors are only used to working with homeowners, and they don't know how to bid correctly to work with an investor. Sometimes they severely underbid, which is a big problem even for you, because again, if they're not making money, they start finding other jobs, they start cutting corner, or they just won't show up anymore to your project. Or they overbid, where then it's costs you a bundle to even do the project, or maybe you just end up not hiring them. So those are the issues. So they're used to working with homeowners. They don't know how to work with investors. Another of the big problems is that, again, like I said before, they're new to this. A lot of these people, they were probably sheetrockers, tile setters, roofers, whatever it is. And now they decided to become GCs, contractors. The problem is, like, what they're good at is doing sheetrock, right? Or doing whatever it is they were doing before, painting, tiles, whatever it is. Now that they're doing the whole thing, they don't know how to estimate those costs. They don't know what that actually means. They gotta go out and find subs, right? Subcontractors, people that know how to do those jobs. They gotta go out and hire the people. And what they end up doing is hiring people that don't have experience, don't know what the hell they're doing, because they're cheap, right? Those people are cheaper, so then it increases their profit margin. So that also creates a big issue for you. And this is going to be by far the biggest one, is that they do not know how to manage their time. And this is something that I've come across with pretty much every contractor we've worked with. And if you're listening, I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but it's true. This has happened with pretty much every contractor we've worked with. They don't know how to manage their time. So what do I mean by this? If I'm paying you $1,000 to do a job, and it takes you 2 days to do that job, you made $1,000 in 2 days. If it takes you 2 weeks to do that job, you still made $1,000, but it just took you 2 weeks to do. Now, where do you make more money? Doing it in 2 days or doing it in 2 weeks? All right. I hope that answer is very obvious to you. It's in 2 days. If you can do the job in 2 days, you're going to make more money. The problem is what I see with a lot of them is they show up late to the job, they take a million breaks, and they leave early. And then they work very, very slow. I mean, so many of the contractors that I've worked with, I go to the jobs and they're very slow to do almost any of the scopes, any of the things that we're doing. And that's the thing. You're working so slow, you do not know how to make money because it takes you so long to get through a scope that you're saying, well, I can do this job, but it's going to take me 5 days. And it's like, no, it shouldn't take you more than 3. You understand? So now if your contractor can be more effective on the time that they're putting in, they're going to be able to charge less because they're going to be able to make more money. So it makes it better for you and it makes it better for them. Everybody makes money here. You understand? So that's the biggest issue. So when you're saying, oh, it's cheap, no, it has not been our experience that partnering with a contractor has been cheaper. Our experience has been that partnering with a contractor has ended up costing us more money to get the project done. Another problem, bad work, right? You think, hey, I'm partnering with a contractor, they're going to do quality work. That, again, hasn't been our experience. In partnering with contractors, what we've realized is kind of leading to number one, that because they're perhaps realizing that they're undershot, that bid, they told you, yeah, we can partner. This is going to be awesome. We're going to split the profit, blah, 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 and it's going to cost 35 grand to renovate, 60 grand to renovate, whatever it is. And then they get into it and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, this is going to be, 50% more. This is going to be more money than I thought because, man, now there's this problem. Now there's that problem. Now they start either cutting corners, doing cheap work, rushed work. They try rushing things, stepping over kind of scopes, cutting corner, like skipping a scope or not finishing it completely. The same thing. They end up hiring very inexperienced or new subs or whatever they are just because they're cheaper. And these people do bad work. So where's this hurt you is that all of that bad work causes delays because it causes you to redo the work. It causes more problems in the project. So when you're thinking, oh, I'm going to partner with a contractor because they're going to do better work. No, that honestly has not been our experience either. They haven't done better work. On top of it's kind of been the opposite. They've done worse work because they've rushed through it or they start falling behind or they can't get the right people and they told you one thing and they're not being able to deliver it. So it just gets very messy and it creates a lot more problems. And then problem number 3, you're saying, hey, they don't require any adult supervision. Wow, was that an eye-opener? They require, if not more adult supervision than working with just a regular contractor. The reason for this is the same thing. They get a little too overconfident sometimes. And when you're working on a project day in and day out, it's very easy to get tunnel vision. When you get tunnel vision, that means that you're going to the project so often that you miss the little things that you're not catching, right? And because they are your partners and essentially they control the whole scope, a lot of the times they open too many scopes up at the same time. And then they don't close them all out as they should be. They end up forgetting that they never finished this scope over here or did that scope over there. And in case you're not very clear on what the scopes of work are and everything, click up here, check out that video I created on scope of work. And it's also going to be in the description, everything on scopes of work. So make sure you check that one out. They have problems creating that tunnel vision. So they have tunnel vision. They are not focused solely on the project. They're missing things. And this is why it requires you to go. They also, majority of the time, they're not selecting the right materials. Because again, the same thing, they're thinking money. They're not thinking what's going to work the best, what's actually going to sell. And one thing as an investor, yes, we want to save as much money as possible while still doing the best job as possible. All right. This is the important part, right? You want to still deliver a great product to the end buyer. So this is very crucial where you're selecting materials. You want to make sure that you don't just buy what's cheap, you buy what's good. There's a lot of times that you deal with a foundation that perhaps you fix a foundation, but there's still some, some unevenness or whatever it is. If you go and buy the cheapest laminate, let's say, you're going to feel that so much more. Now, if you go and buy maybe a 12 millimeter laminate, it's going to hide that imperfection tremendously better. So you're saying, hey, I'm spending more money on the laminate. Yes, but you're also avoiding a major issue when you go sell the house, because now people are not feeling, the floor waving all across when you're walking. Now, these are things that if you don't know about real estate, it makes it harder. But these are the things that sometimes contractors don't understand. They don't understand that it's not always about the money, but it's also about the finished product. Like, yes, it might save you some money here, but will it cost you the sell of the house? That's what you got to ask yourself. Now, another thing is that they're not very good at coordinating material delivery, material purchases with the scopes that need to be done. I mean, we see this over and over again. Every time we partner with a contractor that they've been responsible for the materials, they don't get the materials there on time as they should be. So they're not ordering the material on time. It's gotten delayed. They have the scope. They have the contractors that are showing up, and the material's not even on site. All of these things create so many problems because a lot of contractors that you're going to be working with, they know how to do the job, but they don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to actually run a project. And, this is beyond criticizing them for anything. It's just what is. So you need to be involved in those situations. You need to make sure that it's like, how's our scope look like? Okay, this is when we were trying to start, let's say, the tile. Well, we need to make sure we have the tile in the house by this date. You understand? And if you're going right now, like the economy is, like everything is, you go to Floor & Decor or Home Depot and you realize, like, shit, this tile is going to take 3 weeks to deliver, then you should be placing that order 3 to 4 weeks before that tile scope is needed. All right. Or you need to start shopping for a different type of tile. These are things that a lot of them wait till the last moment to do, and it's going to affect you. Other areas of managing is that a lot of them, they'll hire one trade at a time, right? Because, I don't like guys working on top of each other. It's the dumbest freaking thing these guys have in their head. And it causes a lot of delays and problems for you. You got to help them coordinate. It's like, I'm not saying you have other subs and people working on top of each other, but they could be working at the same time because one's working interior, one exterior, one's working downstairs, one upstairs, one's working the kitchen, the other the bedroom. Like, I mean, there's ways that you can speed up a project. Also, they don't fully know the process with the city. We've had contractors that we partner with on new builds and stuff, and they talk all this shit that they know everything, yet everything is a surprise, right? Oh, the city did this, the city did that. Oh my God. And it's like, dude, that was the benefit of partnering with you. You understand? If you didn't know any of these things, what's the difference between you not knowing and me not knowing? The difference is that I get to keep a lot more of the profit when I'm done if I'm doing it. You understand? Because at the end of the day, working with you has been the same as doing it by myself. So, something to keep in mind. And these examples go on and on all the problems that you're going to have.